Hi, my name is Tracy Justice, and I am your Be Bold coach and consultant. I help people and organizations become and love who they are and love what they do boldly. My approach integrates teachings of energy. And when I say energy, I'm referring to what Dr. Joe Dispenza would call the quantum model of reality, which is how atoms are both, understanding and comprehending that atoms are both particle and wave, right? Like matter is both, atoms are both matter and energy. As human beings, we are made up of atoms, right? So as human beings, we are both matter and energy. And just being able to acknowledge that energy side, not just the matter side, not just the physical side, but that energetic nature side. And so what I do is I take those teachings and I integrate that with life and leadership coaching, as well as strategic planning within the organization. And my process is very intentional on interweaving DEI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, people strategies within the fabric of the organization. And I go about this process by using something I call the 3 phases of being bold. The first phase is called clarifying your chief aim. And that's simply knowing what you want, being able to clarify that. Now, most people, they know what they don't want, but pinning down exactly what they do want sometimes can be a bit of a challenge. And so I help you. What we do is we work through that process to clarify, what is your vision? What is it that you do want? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What are some of the things that you think that will support you? Just getting you to get to the point where you are crystal clear about that vision. Because the quote here I'm going to use from Tony Robbins is that energy flows where your attention goes. And so if you are focused on what you don't want, and that's, and you might say, well, I don't think I'm focused on what I don't want. I'm focused on what I do want. Well, think about your language. Think about how you say things. If you are using words like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want a man who's gonna, I don't want a boss who's going to, I don't want to work for some. If you find yourself using negative words in your language. And when I say negative, not negative like bad, but saying I don't want, as opposed to I am going to, or, I want this, not, what I mean? Like if you're using negative words, then your attention, your energy is flowing in the things that you don't want. So it's just being crystal clear about that. The next phase is called the who am I phase. And I mean, that's really simple, right? Who am I? Because the first phase, clarifying your chief aim, gives you a sense of direction, and that's great. But after you've determined your sense of direction, now you need to determine, who this person is, who's going to actually do the things that are going to move you forward in what you want. So what is your identity? How would you define who you are? How would you define yourself to be a person that does the things that they want to do? Not talks about it, but actually does those things. What kind of person does those things that you want? And after you're able to define it and then refine it, right? So that's going to be a process of living it out, actually trying it out. And really, allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to really, really get to the who of who am I, so then you can move on to the I, right? And that would be, before I move on to the third phase. So a quote to embody that second phase would be by a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, where he says, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So it's just really being clear. So not only do you want to be clear about what you want, you want to be clear about who you are. Because when you are so clear about that, there's nobody can tell you. Nobody will be able to tell you nothing. You hear what I'm saying? Because you'll be so crystal clear about who you are that it won't matter what anybody else has to say about anything. You won't feel like you have to force people to love you or appreciate you or embrace you. That won't be something of your concern. You'll feel the love in just sharing who you are, because you know who you are. So therefore it's like, yeah, right? That, like, it's confidence, it's boldness. Honestly, it truly is. And then the third phase is truly the being stage. And the being stage is being completely aware of how you're showing up in this world in every moment of every day. Just constantly, you are just aware of how you are showing up in everything that you do. I like to call this the magnetic phase, right? Because, well, let me say this before, when these different phases aren't necessarily linear. It's a loop. So even in this being stage, even though it's the third stage, you truly haven't arrived. This stage is your magnetic stage, but this magnetic stage is happening all the time. These things are happening all the time. Each one of these phases are occurring in your life all the time, every moment. We just don't realize it. And so what my process does is I help you slow down the process a bit. And what I mean by slow down the process is give you an opportunity to really take a look at how you are engaging within each phase. But we all are. And so when I say that this is the magnetic phase, I say that because in this phase, how you are showing up in this world is truly how things are coming to you. You are attracting your vibrational matches in every moment of the day. You truly are. But when you are intentional about who you are being, then you're able to attune yourself, right, to a certain place of where you are attracting the situations that you're looking for, the experiences that you're looking for, the people that you are looking for, your tribe, your career, your business, whatever it is that whatever desire that you have in your heart that you want, it's yours already. But depending on how you are being, you are attracting what you are being. So you're attracting what you are being in the moment. If you allow yourself to be more, and when I say be more, be you more, finding yourself more, then you'll find then those things that belong to you, of course, naturally come to you. But it's all these three phases that we are constantly, in every moment, we are constantly clarifying what we want, whether we're using language that where there's a lot of lack in it, whether we're using language that has abundance in it. But we are clarifying our chief aim. We are clarifying our chief wants in life. And then we are identifying with how we see ourselves in relation to that thing. So if you are someone who's saying, well, I want to lose weight, for example, I want to lose weight. Depending on how you see yourself in relation to that want is how you're going to live out. So if you see yourself as somebody who just can't commit to eating healthy, I can't eat that boring stuff. I can't eat bland food. I gotta have flavor in my food. Y'all, I don't eat like that. Well, that is the life that you will live. Or if you see yourself as somebody who does make those choices, the healthier choices, and I mean, you actually do it. You actually find a way. You actually become that person who actually does lose weight. And this is just very, very, very broad, because even in that, I would take it a little bit deeper. But But if you become that person that makes healthier choices, that actually goes out and walks, exercises, you're not talking about what you want, you're actually doing it. Well, then that affects your being, because you're actually doing it, you're actually being that person. So now you have identified yourself as somebody who makes healthy choices in life, who decides to walk, who decides to exercise, who decides to drink the amount of water you need to drink throughout the day. Like, if you are being that person, then you are attracting that life. Now, remember, now, if your vision, even though you see yourself succeeding, but you see yourself succeeding by eating boring food, well, you are eventually going to be somebody who sees that, right? So eventually you might even fall off because it's boring food, and who wants to be bored? So then it goes back to, maybe I need to clarify my chief aim a little bit better. Maybe I need to make that vision a little bit more clear. Let's clear up some of the things that I don't want, and start focusing on things that I do want. So then maybe you change, your thought, your chief aim changes to, I am the person that makes healthy choices, and all of the healthy choices that I make are great. I love them. They feel good. And before you know it, you are finding creative ways to make healthier choices. So then now you've identified as this person who's able to be creative in the healthy choices that you're making. And then because of that, your being is attracting those things into your life. So it's constantly happening. Whether you acknowledge it, whether you take time to pause and to really consider those things, it's always happening. What I introduce is that pause, right? That person to pause with and to explore, what has my chief aim been in life? And how do I clear that up? How do I align that? Right? So we go through a process, and really it's about interacting with your energy. It's really about interacting with you. So if I'm working with you as an individual, if I'm working with you as an organization, is getting the energy of you, or getting the energy of your organization as a whole. Getting that energetic feel of what will work for you, right? Because I do not believe in one size fits all. Be Bold, Be You is about finding your authenticity, finding your uniqueness, because your uniqueness is awesome. Not somebody else's uniqueness. Your own uniqueness is awesome. How can it not be? How can it not be? Right? But some of us, we've gone through some things in life, and our vision or our perception of ourselves have become so distorted, we don't even know who we are. And so therefore, what we want in life, our chief aim, is a bit distorted. It's not clear. It's muddy. It's a bit muddy, right? It's a bit dirty. And our who am I, our identity, we don't really know, because we think we're supposed to be something that we've seen on TV, because TV and the news have pretty much brainwashed us. Now social media is going to be the new brainwashing, but the good thing about social media is that there's so many different information out there, where you can just tap on. But honestly, going back to what I was saying, because of the distortion that happens in our chief aims in life, and how we see ourselves, it affects our magnetic state, because we are always attracting, always bringing to us our own vibrational matches of where we are attuned to. So it's about being able to pause, taking that pause, with someone who will allow you the space, right? Like, because the space is yours. The space is always has already been created for us to find what it is that we're looking for, to clarify our minds, and to just rest in the knowing that everything is working out for us. But it is always understanding our chief aims, our identity, and our being. Understand how we are attracting in every single moment. How do you take that pause? Like, the funny thing about it is because we hear so much about what's going on in the workplace, about how it's what do they say, the great resignation and the great reshuffle, and how do we get people to stay, and how do retention is something that can be tricky, right? Because nowadays people are just not going to stay for it. They are not here for that no more. So it's like, if I can do something else, I'll do something else. And then there's some organizations where sometimes they are retaining people, and maybe those are not the people they want to retain, because now it's getting to the point where people, if they need a job, they'll just do it. How do you reconnect people how do you give people meaning? How do you help people find their purpose? People are sitting at jobs from 8 hours, 10 hours a day. And then they come home to a family that they're just too tired to even enjoy. Too tired to enjoy. And they're slave to the paycheck because you want to live a certain life. How do you help people find their meaning? And it's really through that pause. It's really through that pause. And I feel that organizations have to really do their part, not because somebody's going to mandate them to. Disgusting. No, not be mandated to, but should want to. Leaders should want to really help their employees gain that pause, to really embrace that energetic side of themselves, because it has been going on for a while. It has been neglected for just way too long. How can we change how the workplace is operated? How can we change how organizations operate to where it's not about work as quickly as you possibly can, but it's about how do I help my employees tap into a part of themselves where creativity flows, where collaboration flows, where, oh my gosh, just see, here's the thing, because as I'm even saying this, I'm imagining a workplace where people can come to work and they feel so good because they're contributing, and they feel that they're contributing from their inner self. They feel that they're contributing at a level that is so therapeutic to their mind, to their heart, to their soul. And not because, we're doing like this. I don't see a place of hippiness, right? That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm just talking about allowing each individual to find what is therapeutic for themselves, and allowing employees to be able to get in touch with their energetic self, whichever way that they choose to, but allowing that authenticity so that people can truly tap into their creative geniuses. Now, how would that transform workplaces if people were able to not feel the pressure of assimilating, not feeling the pressure of conforming, being embraced, feeling the true embrace, feeling true embrace within the culture, right? You feel it. You feel that you are truly welcomed, not because of some sort of mandate, but because I see that you are a human just like me, and it's like, you know what? I know what it feels like to be able to feel free to tap into my own creative juices. And so because of that, I know what it must feels like for you. And so I encourage you to be you. I allow your skills, your talents, your resources, your experiences to really shape who you are, and to really be able to tap into that richness of the contribution that each human being can bring to the table. And I feel that if organizations were to truly embrace that part, to allow that part to shine, how innovative work can be, and how empowering it can be for employees that go to work and feel like their voice has been heard and they have truly contributed to the organization. My gosh. And so that what does that do? So then when they go home, they feel full of energy, not tired, not bogged down, not feeling like they're not enough, not feeling like they have to compete with somebody, and now they feel less than, and now they feel like they can't be who they're meant to be, and they feel pressure, they feel prisoned, they feel tired, and it's like they're a slave to that money because their family has been accustomed to this money, and so therefore they have to continue on. And what does that do? That breaks down the family structure at home. So then now you're tired when you get home. I mean, me personally, like for a few years, I enjoyed just volunteering, right? Getting out in the community and volunteering and just being free to be me and just really get to learn a little bit more about me, because this was something new that I pretty much embarked upon. And then I started to work full time. Oh my gosh, I just felt like life was being sucked right out of me. And it's sad to say, and it's not the work, right? Because I love working with people. I love human resources. So people, I love just the concept of human beings and how we are and who we are. And I think it's such an awesome thing when we're able to find our identity and to contribute from that capacity, right? But I didn't like feeling stifled. I didn't like feeling censored. I didn't like not really feeling like I can truly say what I needed to say and to be one with my truth, with kindness. I felt censored. I felt like I had to assimilate. I felt like I had to conform, that I had to be something that I was not, so that I could succeed, right? Because in my mind, I was like, if I act this way, if I talk this way, if I do that, then maybe I will. And after a while, I just got tired. Like it just mentally exhausted me. And it's like, you feel like, because when you feel like you can't be yourself and to contribute in your true, authentic way, you're being stifled, right? And organizations, I think, and I don't want to blame leaders, and I don't want to see that, leaders need to, but I think, and I truly do feel that leaders need to consider, okay, the world is changing. We don't need to keep things the way that they've been for so long. We don't. Back then, it probably was a command and task. Still, I don't think that it was healthy back then, but I can see how maybe back then you didn't quite know as much. There wasn't, I don't know, because I wasn't alive back then. I'm alive now, but it seems like now people are changing, where people feel like, especially after the pandemic, right? Like we've realized like, I don't have to settle for this, And so I would think that organizations, instead of complaining about how it's so hard to keep people and how it's so hard to start to truly figure out, what do you need to do though? How do you need to truly, truly transform? Do you have leaders in positions that are stifling the employees? Are you aware of how your leaders feel? Are you embracing your leaders' whole person so that they can embrace their team's whole person? if we're able to apply those teachings of energy and just realize that every decision and everything that we do affects each other, especially within an organization. And that if you really want to become innovative, that means you are inclusive. And inclusivity allows people to feel free to be themselves. Now, I'm not saying feel free to force yourself down other people's throat. No. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that you understand. See, here's the thing. I probably need to give you my definition of diversity, of what diversity means to me. And to me, diversity is this, it is a feeling well, first, I would say that diversity to me is something that sets us all apart from each other. That we are all unique, and that's an actual gift. That we are all different in a sense, right? Like we are all unique. We have a unique perspective. We have a unique expression. Only you can be you. Only me can be me. Like, that's it. Like, they're really, truly, even two twins, even if they may think alike, even if twins may think alike, they still are two different expressions of life, right? So diversity is a great thing. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, because we live in a dual world, diversity also can make you feel alone. Diversity can also make you feel separated from the whole. And can you imagine that? Because naturally, we're not separated. We are all united. Whether you want to believe it or not, it doesn't really matter, because this is not an argument. This is just simply a fact. We are all one, right? Like if you were to go out into space, and to look down at the earth, you don't see one person. You just see a ball. You just see a powerful, energetic ball. We are all within that. We are all connected. So when you think about it, it's foolish to think that we're separated from each other. And so that's why we feel the tension of that separateness, of that aloneness, of I'm different from them. You feel that tension because it's not natural. You are pulling yourself. And the more you say, I'm different, I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm separate from that, you keep distancing yourself. You keep pulling yourself away from the whole because you're not away from the whole. You are part of the whole. So that tension, that feeling, those feelings that we feel when we feel separate is unnatural. And because it's unnatural, that's why we feel that tension, we feel that hurt. And instead of trying to work through the hurt, or at least accept that that's a feeling that you have, we don't. We just intensify it, we strengthen it, and then the tension magnifies and the tension strengthens, and then it starts getting a little bit of crazy, right? And then you start seeing it out in the world of all these wars, all these shootings, all these different things where people just start to feel like they're separate because they feel separate, but we're not separate. Right? We're not separate. And so if we're able to create a place where people can come to work and feel inclusive and feel like they're included, rather, and feel like they are included in the dream, in the vision, that their contribution matters, that their authentic contribution matters. What kind of workplace would you have? Oh my gosh, if everyone felt, and I'm not talking about, and I don't have a problem with everybody getting a trophy, because I like that for the kids. I think it's good for the kids. Kids need to know what it feels like to win a trophy. Everybody needs to know what it feels like to be a winner, right? At least feel that memory, that feeling, so you know what to tap on to when you're trying to feel like a winner. But at the same time, at the same time, I'm not saying that, if if what people are saying doesn't contribute or doesn't fit with what you're trying to do, you just let it go on anyways. No, I'm talking about truly being intentional. But if you know that you've hired the right people, you've hired the people with the right skills, the right talents that you're looking for, embrace them enough to allow them to be their authentic self and to contribute. Talk to people. Communicate what is it that you're trying to do. And when you're able to have those conversations with people and be transparent, and you allow people to bring their whole self to work, then they feel good. Then they feel like they've been able to breathe. And when a person feels like they've been able to breathe, then they go home and they're able to bring that energy home and to create that energy, that abundant, elevated, joyous energy at home as well. It's these teachings of energy that I feel like are lacking in organizations. People are just so ready. Okay, do, so task oriented. But I think that we're moving past that. And my thing is that if you are an owner of an organization, why wouldn't you want to woo your workers? Like, why wouldn't you? And the funny thing about it is that most organizations, and I did it at my last job, we go around and we compare to what, other organizations are doing. And we start looking at what other organizations are doing, and then we base what we're going to do based on what we find other organizations are doing. So all we do is stay within this mediocre range of organizational excellence. And I'm saying that, with quotes like organizational, like we just do what other organizations do, and we base what we want to do off of that. And it's so interesting to me that, an organization wouldn't say, okay, yes, let's use that information as a baseline just to get an understanding of what people are doing, but not necessarily allowing that to truly create your decision, of forming your decision of how you treat your workforce, or how their total rewards package, their benefits, how, their leadership development, whatever perks you decide. If you are trying to woo your workforce, then you get up ahead of the curve. Like, you're not even you're not trying to stay in line with everybody else. You're trying to do what you feel is right within your heart. And if you're thinking about how can I woo people to want to stay here and to help me in my dream, right? Like, because that's the other thing that cracks me up, is that you have these leaders of organizations that are just beyond wealthy. I mean, beyond wealthy. And you don't want to help people that are helping your dreams come true? That's why we're in the state that we're in. Because people don't really embrace that energetic side of themselves, not realizing that you're doing that. Because we're all one. And so when you create that let me get back to what I'm saying. So, because I'll go off on a tangent on that, but creating a place where people want to work, that inclusiveness. If you're thinking about wooing people, you're thinking about that retention strategy. What can you do to really to show that you understand what people are dealing with right now, what people are experiencing in their life right now? How can you support that? How can you come from a place of abundance where everybody can enjoy the wealth? Because then what you do is you create people that want to work for you and support your dream, because they're not only supporting you is supporting them. And so it's just like, it's a win-win situation. Why don't organizations think like that? Why don't organizations truly pour into people so that people can pour into them? They don't, because it's about somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And it all goes back to being intentional, right? About those phases that I was talking about, clarifying your chief aim. What is your chief aim? Is your chief aim that you just want to be rich? that you just want to have an organization that, you know, you're doing things, but you don't truly care about the people that you're bringing in. Like, you don't want to create an inclusive organization. Isn't that interesting? Like, what is your chief aim? Because your chief aim plus your identity equals who you are being, what you are attracting. If you are experiencing retention issues at work, or let's say you're not an organization and you're listening to this and you're like, no, I'm not experiencing retention issues, but I'm trying to get things together in my life though too. Like, it really goes back to clarifying your chief aim. Are you inclusive? And sometimes when I'm working with individuals, it's the inclusiveness becomes very personal. Like, it's not really worrying about other people. It's about, are you loving yourself? Are you including all of you? Are there parts of you that you're cutting off? You know, are there parts of you that you're just ignoring? That could affect your being. You know, just at the end of the day, I believe that an understanding of energy, the teachings of energy, doesn't only have to be a church sort of thing, because people still only go to church most of the time. Most people only on Sunday. At work, 5 days a week consumes most people's lives. I don't believe that organizations have to be mandated, but it's just, but it really does like boggle my mind sometimes when I think like, wow, why wouldn't you want to create this awesome workplace? Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want there to be this workplace where people are truly themselves and are able to contribute? I think that as I'm thinking through now what I'm saying, sometimes I wonder, because really it's all about perception. So I wonder if people, you know, when people hear what I'm saying, what they're thinking about when they think about a workplace where people are able to be themselves. I wonder, because maybe how I see it is totally different from others. But I truly do believe that when energy is integrated, the understandings of energy is integrated into the very fabric of the organization, that it can truly create a transformative place. Communication transforms. Communication transforms. Meetings transforms. There's more trust. You feel good. I believe that there would be less absenteeism, because people would want to come to work, because you're like, man, I gotta go to work because that's where I get my fix. That's where I get energy. And I feel like workplaces should support that for your organization, support that for your workforce. Because at the end of the day, when you scale it down, when you measure an organization by units and you scale it down, it's people. It's each individual that contributes to the collective whole, the collective energy. Now, would you be curious? Because as I'm thinking about this, of course, I'm thinking about, because I also administer a energy leadership index assessment. And what that does, that is an assessment developed by Bruce D. Schneider. And what this assessment does is that it measures your energetic profile on a good day and on a stressful day. And individually, you can find out what your ARL, which is average resonating level. you can find out what your individual number is, and then you can find out, what the organization's energy level is. And what that would do for you is that it would be enlightening, right? Like, it would be really enlightening to see, okay, different functions within the organization. What is the energy level coming from that, from different departments within the organization? What are the energy levels coming from the leadership department? And how is that impacting the whole workforce as a whole? What does the energy of the whole workforce look like? It can really give you a great story or great baseline of understanding what energy is looking like for you and your organization, or for you personally. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, definitely reach out to me at tjustice@beboldbu.com and let me know, and we can talk about it a little bit more. But I just thought about that when I was thinking about the energy of, thinking about energy of the organization. But honestly, like, when you understand that energy, when you allow understandings of energy to be integrated into the workplace, you allow people to bring their whole self and to feel safe, right? So of course there's trainings that are involved in ensuring that you're able to just create a place, not create a place of where you have to get into arguments or get into what's right, what's wrong. It's about, how do we create a shared experience? How do we create a shared experience where everybody feels like they can contribute in their own authentic way? And that's what it becomes about. When people are bored, they start to talk about things that excite them, and sometimes drama is exciting. But if you're able to create a place where people feel like they don't even have to discuss their personal views, because it's really not even about that. It's about, okay, how do I just bring my authentic self into this work? And how do I get to do that? And how do I get to, it's about understanding where your organization is and being able to nurture that energetic side of the organization as a whole and as individuals. What are your thoughts about the teachings of energy in the workplace? I'm curious to know, because I know that most people find it very controversial to talk about energy in the workplace. And to me, I just find it so necessary that these workplaces are causing mental health issues. I'm telling you, I believe that it's the workplace. People try to say, oh, I believe it's at home. I believe it starts at home. No, I believe it started in the workplace, and the workplace affected home. But let me slow down, because I felt it. I felt the power in that discussion right there. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Let me know. Hit me up. I am just curious to hear what you have to say.